Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I do not know how to respond to this experience. Tikti Purute Tirathani Swantasthani Vatavata. Yes, we have a lot of holy places. They're worshipable. But our Acharya taught us that all of them are there together and at the same time at the feet of the pure devotee. This is very important in this place to reminisce and to deeply absorb. Yes, we do go on yatras and we should go on yatras to holy places. Yes, that's true. And yet, the holy people, the sadhus, pure Vaishnavas, they are holy places personified. And from that perspective, this apparently small looking place, which is whatever size it may be, is for us followers of His divine grace, and for generations down the line, till this momentum is alive on this planet, will remain probably the most holy place on the planet, in the Western world, Western Hemisphere. So what a fortune to be sitting here. We don't deserve, but we're sitting in a place which actually is a part of history. I don't have much to speak, but I thought this place for me is a place where we can more deeply remember Prabhupada. It is a place for Prabhupada's Maranam. So I thought the best thing is to reminisce some of Prabhupada's words from this very important classic which all of us, very endearing to all of us, this monumental work by Satsrup Das Goswami Maharaj. So I'm just going to read a few things and say a few things. So please, this is not a class, this is just my way of responding to this occasion. So, in 1959, 17 September, the day of sannyas of Vishwarup, Mahaprabhu's elder brother, is a day where His Divine Grace took sannyas. Keshavji got him out from Bhakti Pragnya Keshav Maharaj. Mathura. In Mathura. And then there were 3 people who were taking sannyas. Narayan Maharaj performed the sannyas ceremonies. His Divine Grace was there. And ceremonies were performed, mantras were chanted, etc. The rituals for sannyas diksha were there. And then generally the sannyas guru would speak. The one who gives diksha would speak. But realizing the monumental power of His Divine Grace, Keshav Maharaj asked Prabhupada to speak. The candidate never speaks. But he was asked to speak. And obviously it wasn't a Prabhupada lecture. Prabhupada was... So right there in 1959, Prabhupada got up. It was said that it was a temple hall. Bengalis were sitting there. Bengalis know only Bengali and a little of Hindi, and beyond that nothing else. but Prabhupada spoke in English. Right? So much was the focus of his divine grace that the sannyas was not for any purpose but to reach up to the Western world. And that article was published in the Gaudiya Patrika thereafter. An important part of Prabhupada's life, of course, we know the Jhansi chapter is a very big chapter of Prabhupada's life, where dreams grew to great heights and dreams shattered very powerfully in Prabhupada's life. All his dreams of starting in the League of Devotees shattered to pieces, like how a glass vase is thrown on the ground and crashes down. So Prabhupada's heart must have been crashed to that extent. And there was definitely clinical spiritual depression. Prabhupada must be so unhappy with that. And yet, the person who never, ever felt discouraged. He was sad, but never discouraged. He was sad on many occasions, many occasions, but he never felt Prabhupada getting discouraged. His desire to fulfill his Guru's message remained forever burning as brightly as ever, no matter what the external situation must be. So, important part of the preparatory past before Prabhupada actually landed in this place is in a place called as Chippivada. This is a part of history which is often not remembered so much. I thought I will speak about that a little bit. We all know Prabhupada, Gaurachand Swami, Gaurachand gave an invitation to Prabhupada to start staying at the Damodar Mandir, and Prabhupada at the rent of 5 rupees started, giving that rent, and he spent at that time 500 rupees to renovate the place. So that money is big, but to shows to the extent how much it was broken down. It needed 500 rupees to make it functional, and then even then it was very rudimentary and very primitive, to say the best, right? And it is at that time that Prabhupada actually began his trips to Delhi, right? So there is no historical account anywhere where it is mentioned how much Prabhupada must have traveled between Vrindavan and Delhi. And why was Delhi important for Prabhupada? First of all, because very close. It was, I say, Prabhupada said 93 miles southwest of Delhi. So it was close to travel by train. And Delhi, the Chippivada area, is the hub of the printing world of Delhi. And Prabhupada knew that the instruction was there to print books. So Prabhupada started looking for places to stay. So here was a sannyasi who knew he had to go to Delhi, but where does he stay? So there he comes in contact with a very important person, and that person's name is Krishna Pandit. And we should remember him very dearly today, because he was very, very close to Prabhupada's heart. Very close to Prabhupada's heart. So he was a part of the, what is called as the a particular Naval Prem Sabha. He was senior official in that particular Sabha, which was doing its own work of propagating Dharma in his own way. And he had seen the Swami is so dedicated that please come and stay. So there's an attic there above the Chippivada temple. It was unused, unkept, and sort of lying there. And he said, you can come and stay. So he gave, when Prabhupada said staying there, he gave the lamp, a place to write.
Put a bulb.
Put a bulb there for Prabhupada.
Give a bucket and a mug.
Give a bucket and a mug.
And
right?
some pocket money.
So
He would give Prabhupada.
He would give Prabhupada pocket money regularly to spend. Right? Here is a person who is traveling. So even if you travel from Delhi to Vrindavan, you require something. And Prabhupada had absolutely no source of income. He was there's nothing like poverty line. It doesn't exist. The richest man in the world spiritually was absolutely, broken down financially. So he was getting some money. And there was a picture of Radha Govind he gave, put in this place, which he had received from his Guru Maharaj.
Krishna
from,
Pandit.
yeah, from the Maharaja of Jaipur. So he put it over there. And that made the room a little functional for Prabhupada to actually start. Right?
And he didn't have any food to eat many times. So when we went to Chippivada, there's this house of whose family? OK Press, no,
Yeah, Hitsaran Sharma.
Sharan Sharma's family. So when Prabhupada would go around, he was so absorbed, he would forget to eat. And there was no money to buy food, because whatever money he had, he wanted to buy paper, which was very rare at that time and costly.
Yeah, Sharma.
So she would make sometimes, sadhus ke liye some kadhi and rice, and she would ask for Swamiji, Swamiji, did you eat today? I said, no, I have not eaten yet. And then she would, whenever she would be able to give, Prabhupada would eat that.
And the guest house book of the temple, Prabhupada writes something about Krishna Pandit, right? So he wasn't like an initiated person. He was, I don't know what his age, but he must have been like a mature, senior, 50 plus type of person. And yet Prabhupada gave him a beautiful title. When Krishna Pandit learned of his guest's lone struggles to produce back to Godhead, he wanted to help with some of his business aspects of publication. Bhaktivedanta Swami was indeed gratified by Krishna Pandit's sincere help, and in appreciation he gave him, in addition to his name, the word Hari Bhaktanudas. So this is the first time in history, and historically important for us, that Prabhupada is not official guru to anybody yet. But yet, he gave him a beautiful name. You can call it a title, or almost like he identified him that you are Hari Bhaktanudas, right? And then in the I am pleased to write is this in the guest book. Prabhupada writing is appreciation. Prabhupada was always appreciative, which is talking about nobility in our discussion, right? So he writes in this book, I am pleased to write herein that I have come to Delhi from my headquarters. Headquarters. 1/859 KC Ghat, Vrindavan, UP, purely on the spiritual mission to propagate the cult of devotional service of the Lord. And I am more pleased to mention herewith that Shriman Shri Krishna Sharma Hari Bhaktanudas has provided me a suitable room for my literary activities. I am publishing an English fortnightly magazine of the name Back to Godhead from this place, and the Naval Prem Sabha, of which Sri Krishnaji is the honorary secretary, is arranging for my daily lectures on Srimad Bhagavat. Late Pandit Jyoti Prasad Sharma, father of Sri Krishnaji, was also known to me. And Prabhupada writes more. So this is the one who actually, so anybody who helped Prabhupada to print books became very dear to him. Anybody who went to distribute books became very, so anyone who assisted him in any way, right? For the Gurus mission became very dear to Prabhupada. And then, what was Prabhupada's schedule at Chippivada, right? So we know Prabhupada's schedule after Hari Prabhu writes in the National Diary, he's wrote the schedule, right? But we need to note with Prophet here that Prabhupada's schedule was similar even before he got a paralytic attack. Some people say he got a paralytic attack and then lost his sleep. Because he lost his sleep, he said, might as well not sleep in the night so I can do some work in the night. That was one interpretation of Prabhupada's loss of sleep and working in the night. But probably that's not best theory. But here at Chippivada, Bhaktivedanta Swami followed much of the daily schedule at Keshi Ghat, except that with Krishna Pandit doing some of the secretarial work of Active magazine, he was free to devote more hours to Srimad Bhagavat. Right? I'm reading this because the faith Prabhupada needed to come here to this place which we are sitting right now is to have the power of Bhagavatam with him. He was absolutely unwilling to come alone, because in his heart of hearts he was very clear that I will not be able to do anything here. This is a task which is it is suprahuman to do. How can one person change anybody's life, and that too in America, right? But he knew that if Bhagavatam is there, it is Krishna himself is coming with me. Huh? And Krishna, as you know, Krishna Sodhama Pagate Dharma Jnana with Atavi Saha, right? So when Kali Yuga was destroyed, then Purnanarko Anuditaha, right? Bhagavatam was again, it came back. So Krishna has come in this world as Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada's implicit faith in the Bhagavatam is so strong, that this is the only grantha which can actually change the hearts of the people.
In fact, when we went to Sri Lanka Yatra, so the books of Prabhupada, they were stopped at Cochin. And they, no, that's right, at Cochin. And then Prabhupada celebrated the last Janmashtami at Radha Damodar, and he invited the governor of Uttar Pradesh to come and attend that and all. And that time Prabhupada, look at his humility, he said, Srimad Bhagavatam is going to the west and I am accompanying him, accompanying the Bhagavatam. Not that I am going and I am carrying Bhagavatam with me. Bhagavatam is going to the west and I am just accompanying the Bhagavatam, like, the servant is going along with the master. That was his conviction about Bhagavatam.
Krishna Mandir ji writes about his schedule, so we can appreciate this, how Prabhupada worked so hard before giving all his translation work in the West. He used to translate Bhagavatam before dawn, about 3 a.m. In the beginning, there was no typewriter, but then he arranged a portable typewriter. He would do his daily work and then cook his food himself. Arrange raw material for his cooking. The bhoga would be arranged by him. Sometimes he used to come to my family, asking my wife to get some food. Right? Sometimes he would also bathe around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. For Prabhupada, even that was not so important as, right, said, every day he was typing. And himself was reading some Bhagavatam, and he was going down in the temple for darshan. Then again he was going outside, sometimes returning by 2 to 4 in the afternoon. And then again he was typing and sending the proofs.
Typewriter was not like soft touch, what we have, the keyboards right now. You had to press on each, like you're saying, to open the lock is difficult. Because that was technology in India at that time. So imagine how much Prabhupada's fingers would have pained, hit on each button and do hours together to do that. And the name of the typewriter was Corona. Corona, Corona. They have a picture, they have made paintings. Again, Maharaj helped to renovate the Chippivada place and get all those original. Like he's so much into getting original of everything. Yes. So the whole place, you have to again, you'll get the same feeling like here over there.
So the as it is part doesn't only relate to Prabhupada's books. As it is means even this place, as it is. In Bhakti Bhavan in Kolkata, as it is. Lodanga Junction Road, as it is. So Maharaj's definition as it is so, all pervasive in anything Prabhupada has done. In terms of propagating Prabhupada's philosophy, it should be done without any change. As it is. So as it is our, something which is very dear to our heart. Everything should be only as it is. Anyway, so then he was going outside, sometimes returning at 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Then what he was doing? Typing. And sending the proofs of Back to God magazine to a place and checking them out. He was doing by hand all this type. His main activity was typing many hours a day. So the sound of, so he would always keep hearing that. It's very noisy typewriter. Tak, tuk, tak, tuk. Some of us, and I remember when I was born, and I was going to some typing classes and I would do tak, tak, tak. It's very noisy, right? So, we worship Prabhupada's lotus feet because they're very, very soft, right? But sometimes I wonder what must be the nature of Prabhupada's fingers, which have done hours and hours and hours and hundreds and thousands of hours of typing with those fingers, right? How divine are Prabhupada's fingers to have touched and revealing his heart through his fingers into the print and the whole world is now reading that. Correct? So that was something which I thought we should remember today. And Prabhupada's conviction about books. How did he think that books would be revolutionary? Yes, Sarvas Thakur had told him, that was there. But we all know this, but this is Prabhupada writing himself. Said, the Communist Party has become popular simply by distributing literature. In Kolkata, Prabhupada in Kolkata, right? So he knows about, and communism, as we know, in India started in Calcutta. There's a sort of seed of communism was in Kolkata. The communist agents were inviting friends and reading the literature. The Russians never came to India, but by distributing literature in every language, they got a pretty good number of followers. If it is possible for an ordinary third-class mundane literature, why should transcendental literature create devotees all over the world? There is good potency for pushing on these literatures very vigorously from village to village. The Bhagavad Dharma is the original religion of human society. Whatever else may be passing as religion has come from Vedic literature. People are after these books. They are hankering for them. Lord Chaitanya said that in every town and village on the surface of the world, they will know the message of the Sankirtan movement. This means that in every village and town all over the world, there are many candidates who are waiting for the message. This is Prabhupada. And it's true. When he came here, there were people who were waiting for something, right? All these people who came into this room were waiting for this. They were doing this and that, something else. No, but when they got this, they never left this place. They just got, their hearts were waiting for something. They didn't know what they were waiting for, but when Prabhupada gave to them, they knew this is what we were looking for. It is a transcendental literature. Nobody can challenge it. It is done so nicely without any spotless. It is a spotless Purana. What is Prabhupada's dream? And this is sometimes great people are dreamers, no? But it's not like empty daydreaming. But when a dream is actually the desire of the heart of pure Vaishnava. Prabhupada is a little discouraged because the Vyas Puja of Srila Thakur did not take place with the type of conviction to really do something to push forward his mission. So Prabhupada says very clearly, even now my godbrothers, you return here on the order of my master and together to engage in Vyas Puja. But simply, this is important for us when we have a festival, but simply some festival of flowers and fruits does not constitute worship. Right? The one who serves the message of the Guru is really worshipping him. Right? Prabhupada takes it beyond external rituals to the spirit of actual worship. Just nobody could unite, they did not unite together and do something. The Prabhupada expresses 3 desires. This is something good to know, just for this thing. When will that day come? That song is there. Kabhi habe bolo, say dinamar. Something like that is Prabhupada is writing here. When will that day come when a temple will be established in every house, in every corner of the world? Imagine the revolutionary thought of a pure devotee. Nothing less than, when will the High Court judge be a Gaudiya Vaishnava? Not just Vaishnava from Sri Sampradaya. Should be Gaudiya Vaishnava, right? With tilak beautifully decorating his forehead. Very clear, right? If one Godbrother Maharaj's disciple, who is the judge, the Supreme Court, his seat is in Mumbai. Abhay, it is Abhay. When will a Vaishnava winning votes? When will a Vaishnava winning votes be elected president of the land, and preaching be spread everywhere? So you want people in all positions to be at the top. Prabhupada wanted like that. Right? This is Prabhupada's desire. Some of you can take it up. Become president of America. This land needs a bad person very badly. And of course, it wasn't easy now there was nothing happening about coming to America, right? So the Prabhupada was so keen to start movement somewhere, and then he got an invitation from Japan, right? Remember that? He got an invitation from Japan, and some of his friends said they can go to Japan, and one Professor Nokano was there, and Prabhupada actually did something beautiful, wonderful. Sometimes we forget the history of these things. How would he go to Japan and speak what? Right? Can he speak to Japanese Srimad Bhagavatam? This is like postgraduate study of this thing. So he wrote a book called The Light of the Bhagavad.
Sir, we'll arrange the staying and the everything, but you have to arrange for your ticket. We didn't have.
We will connect you to the governor and all these big people, but you have to.
And Prabhupada tried for many days to collect sufficient money for the ticket, but he was not even able to collect that much money for just the ticket to Japan. So the whole project got.
So there are two presses. The Bhagavatam, which we all read, the first copies were printed at OK Press and Radha Press.
Okay, right. Means O Krishna Press.
So the first was 1100 copies were made, and volume 1, volume 2 and volume 3, Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So again, no money. So Prabhupada got, he must have got small tits and bits of money, but the major chunk came from 3 people.
He was told to go there.
One was Srimati Morarji, second was one LH Sugar Factory in Delhi, who gave 5,000 rupees, and then there was Hanuman Prasad Podarji at Gorakhpur, one of the very respected figures in India, the Gita Press founder. Right, who went, Prabhupada showed him his manuscript of what he was doing writing. He was very happy, and he gave at that time 4,000 rupees.
And that time when somebody told him that you go to Hanuman Prasad Poddar, because it was the Gita press was the biggest printing press at that time. And then Prabhupada took out what money he had I think something like 150 rupees or 85 rupees or something. And when he calculated, the money was enough to go there, but there was not enough money to come back from Gorakhpur, from Delhi. So, but he still took the risk. You will not go somewhere unless you have guarantee. Will I come back? If he doesn't give a donation, there's no way to come back, right? So, but he calculated this much by train, this much by Tonga, this much by rickshaw to reach there. And when he reached Hanuman Prasad Poddar, he was actually a mystic, Hanuman Prasad Poddar. He was not an ordinary person. So as soon as he saw Prabhupada, it takes one to know one, you know. So he could understand that who is Prabhupada. He immediately gave him 4,000 rupees. And then one of the assistants was sitting next to him, Hanuman Prasad Poddar, and he told him that actually I am not your guru, he is your guru. So he told Prabhupada, I donate you to him. And who was that? Our dear Radha Govind Maharaj.
Wow!
He was given to Prabhupada by Hanuman Prasad Poddar. And look what Radha Govind Maharaj is doing. He gave donation plus this. That was sufficient only to print the first canto of Bhagavatam. The second canto ke liye tha nahi, so then he went to this LH Sugar Factory, and that gave $5,000 amount, rupees. To
Nityanand Swami had been dissatisfied with Hitcharan Sharma. He owned the press. As a producer supervisor, although supposedly an expert in trade, Hitcharan had caused delays, sense of severe urgency. Delays. As you know, the Chaitamrita was to be printed how many months?
17 months.
Prabhupada said it will take about, you can do about 1 volume in 2 months. This like that, they said. 1 volume in 2 months, that means 17 volumes will take, imagine what, right? What said? 17 volumes in 2 months, right? So Prabhupada's sense of urgency is appalling, right? And how he could inspire people to do at that speed is another great feat of his disciples to will do that. So anyway, here he says that Hitcharan Sharma had caused delays, and sometimes he had advised Gautam Sharma. So there are 2 people, Hitcharan and Sharma and Gautam Sharma.
The Sharmas were all helping. Krishna Sharma, Hitcharan Sharma.
The work on volume 1 had slowed down and even stopped when a job from from a cash customer had come up, and Bhaktivedanta Swami had complained that it was his Sharan's fault for not giving money to OK Press on time. For volume 2, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to deal directly with OK Press and supervise the printing himself. He spoke to Gautam Sharma and offered a partial payment. Although the majority of the copies of volume 1 were still standing on the printing floor, Bhaktivedanta Swami wanted OK Press to begin volume 2. Gautam Sharma accepted the job. So these are two people who are actually, so there is a devotee who is the president of Chippiwada temple now, and he, when he actually become involved with the Chippiwada management, and when ISKCON sort of entered, he went to these people. The press was still there. When we entered, ISKCON entered, the press was still there, and he told them that you give me the printing machine, right? And he offered a healthy amount of money for that also. He said, you can give we don't a donation. So he kept on going several times. We met him last time, and I met him and said, he begged them, you give it to us, give it to ISKCON, we'll give it to money. But that person was so stubborn. He said, no, it's our ancestral, printing press, down the line, so this cannot be given to anybody else and all like that. And then kept on persisting. At last, when he went again, last time again, he said, give it to us. He said, I sold it on scrap.
In scrap.
In scrap. He gave it in scrap. Imagine what a loss to have that press, right? Like in the museum which is there right now at Bagh Bazaar. Bagh Bazaar is, as you know, very much, and Srila Thakur launched his preaching mission. So there's a museum there on the 3rd floor. The actual printing press which Srila Thakur used to print Nadia Prakash and the harmonist, that press is still there, right? So this press would have been like a worshipable deity for us if he had the press with us, right? So what he came with, then he opened the drawer and said, I have only one small part of this.
He went to the Bangar fellow, no? And then he got it from him, I think.
Bangar? I don't know. So they just got one sort of a
handle
which they must have used. So the small metal piece is there, so small. So there's the only part we have, which is there in the Chippiwada temple for us. So something is there, and it's part of that thing. So like that. Yeah,
your time.
So, and this is not enough. See, Prabhupada was traveling, as I said, from Vrindavan to Delhi, writing there, writing here, giving the paper for printing, buying the paper and giving for printing. Then they would give him the proofs. Obviously, there would be bound to be mistakes, correcting the proofs, going back. And once the volume was ready, that was not sufficient. He was the only person who went out to distribute those books, right? So it wasn't like at the tea stall, going for like BTG. Tea stall people would not make a book, right? So he went to the Ministry of Education in India, went to American Embassy, right? And so these books started, so they would take, because by now they had seen the picture of one person we must always remember with gratitude is Lal Bahadur Shastri, right? Shastri ji, Prabhupada knew somebody who was doing yoga in the yoga studio with Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was then the Prime Minister of our country, right? So it's like I can get you connected with. So Prabhupada was a person who was always looking for big contacts, we should know. For him, always a rhinoceros. It's always rhinoceros philosophy, right? So writing letters to Gandhi ji, Zakir Hussain, Indira Gandhi, Rajendra Prasad. So this, you can see that there's all this stuff still there in our books. So how can a small little Swami, walking on the road and known to nobody, write letters to the people who are, managing the entire country, right? But Prabhupada felt that his message was so important that they should know. They should know what I am writing, right? He never felt he was very small, but the message he felt was worthy for everyone to listen, right? So, what was I saying? Yeah. So Lal Bahadur Shastri, that picture is there, right? You have seen where he's in the evening when he was sitting in his garden. sort of free time and giving darshan, darshan time, informal darshans to people who come to meet him. So he was, and Prabhupada met him that time and showed him the manuscripts, and then the picture there, somebody clicked the picture, and Abdul Shastri says they should be put in all the libraries, right? And so that was Prabhupada's very big advantage, that the PM of the country has endorsed it and said it should be put in libraries. So then with that thing he had, then he started pushing it even harder. The PM has said, so the Education Minister of India took it and sent it all there, and some of the copies went to America, like that. So that's how Prabhupada could get the, and when he wrote a letter to Zakir Hussain, the Vice President and then also Vice President of our country, he writes that actually I have the clue to take everyone back to Godhead. Here is a non-Hindu Prime Minister, right? And he's telling him, I can take the whole world, I have the clue to take the whole world back to Godhead. This is impossible to imagine. The conviction of Prabhupada in Krishna consciousness is higher than Mount Sumeru. Right? It's so powerful. It's so powerful that that conviction is what has, when we are today hearing Prabhupada's kirtan before we started our that sound which is coming is familiar to all of us, right? But within the sound of Prabhupada's kirtan is embellished by his complete conviction that this is Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatar. So Krishna is manifesting fully, completely, entirely when Prabhupada is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And it is that purity and conviction of Prabhupada which is touching the hearts of people who are sitting in his room in 60s and 70s. Right? The same mantra which you and I chant, but we can't change our heart. We are chanting for these many years. We can't chant our own hearts. But Prabhupada will change the hearts of people who are at the lowest level of human consciousness. How is that possible? Yeah, so I talked about Prabhupada Shastri. So he wrote a letter back to him, last Shastriji. Dear Swamiji, many thanks for letter. I am indeed grateful for your presenting the copy of Srimad Bhagavatam to me. I realize that you are doing valuable work. It would be a good idea if the libraries in the government institutions purchase this book. He got what he wanted. Right? At last, Prabhupada got the connection with Sumati Morarji, right? And that was a very big turning point, and I think we know that. And Sumati Morarji is a very interesting lady. Her birth name was Jamuna.
Maiden name.
Maiden name was Jamuna. And then she married with Shantilal Morarji. So she is the first international president of the International Navigation Company.
Woman president.
So the International Federation of Navigation, the first lady to head International Navigation Federation was Sumati Morarji.
How many people were working under her? 6,000.
She's one lady. So when you look at her picture, she's like, what do you call in Gujarati? Ba. You know, we call ba. Look at ba. Ba means, like very simple old lady, with that ghungat and all of that. In office, she's staying like that, But she's handling 6,000 people. And her fleet of 54 cargo ships here. 54. At the height of their business, India Management Company was handling 54 cargo ships, of which one of them was Jala Taranga, Jala Matsya, and Jala Duta. So it's all Jala. Jai Mangal. So all the names were Jai like that. So Jaluta was very prophetic in that way, that the ambassador of the world traveling through Jala Duta, the messenger of the Lord traveling through the waters. So very, very powerful lady. And then some of our devotees met Mr. Pandya and Mr. Choksi. The Mr. Choksi was a person who actually was his PA. And some of our devotees met him. Of course, he's nowhere in the world now. But it is said, and this is not recorded, that Prabhupada, Prabhupada did go and sit at the doorstep of the office, right? Of Sumati Morarji. Like just waiting for her to give her an audience. But she is such a big lady, right? So at one time Prabhupada went to Andheri to his to her residence place, right? And he was standing outside the gate, just at the gate. And hopefully when the car passes by, he will wave to her and make her stop and say something, and hopefully she'll roll down the window and he can say something. So eager to do this, right? So his driver saw that there is Swamiji standing here every day, but he just zooms up and zooms down, and Prabhupada is not getting the audience. So the driver name was Bholaram. So Bholaram said, Swamiji, aisa nahi milenge, madam, right? You go to office, right? So he went to office, right? And he would sit there in anticipation to catch her attention. So it is said Prabhupada went there several dozens of times. Right? And at one point of time, then it caught her attention that who's this Swamiji? Who's this? So he's been waiting. So she said, Madam, he's been waiting to meet you for long. Send him in. Right? So Prabhupada actually became a beggar, transcendental beggar, begging not for himself, even a farthing, but begging for all of us. Right? So talking about Prabhupada is always very emotionally charged topic, right? And when we speak about Prabhupada and what he has done for all of us is, and there is absolutely no way we can even imagine that we can repay even a molecule of what he has done for each one of us, to make us qualified to wear a kanthi and have a shikha and have a bead bag in our hand and chant the holiest of all mantras. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So no wonder when he gets the heart attacks, I think it was the 8th or 9th day that he got that. Not sure. So the diary mentions all that. So we had made a presentation on that once to some devotees. And then Prabhupada says that not one or two, but all of the avatars, they actually descended upon Jaladuta. All the Dasha avatars. Yesterday we talked about Matsya avatar yesterday. And all the avatars descended upon the Jaladuta and took charge of the Jaladuta. All of them. And it is from that point onwards, the next day, Atlantic Ocean became very peaceful. And then Pandya himself, Tatapani was surprised that, this is not the usual Atlantic we had seen before. Prabhupada says very clearly that if the Atlantic had shown its actual fury, I would not have survived. Hadn't Krishna intervened, there is no way Prabhupada could have crossed 37 days of arduous journey. So that's how Prabhupada came here. Boston Pier, 17 September 1965. And even then, for 1 year, he didn't get any success, right? As we know it. This is the, Krishna Prabhu was mentioning that this is the 6th place he got. Prior to this, in New York itself, there were 5 other places he had been. Right, Prabhuji? Am I right?
Yes.
Staying here with Mishra ji and with, what is that? That drug addict? David. So there are 5 places which he Prabhupada had to leave. And this is the 6th place finally which Prabhupada actually stationed himself. So, this is Prabhupada's matchless gift to the whole world. There is no other gift which can match this gift Prabhupada has brought, right? That's why it is matchless gift. So we are all, in Kali Yuga everyone is Manda Bhagya, but within the Mahabhagya, people like you and me are Mahabhagya. We are supremely fortunate to be at Prabhupada's lotus feet and the lotus feet of those people who are serving Prabhupada with unalloyed devotion. So thank you very much, dear friends, dear devotees, for giving us a chance to remember. The most purified thing, if ever we feel a little low in spiritual life, there's one book which can always lift you up. Right, more than the Gita and the Bhagavad, right? You take a Prabhupada, any book, any one page, and you feel you feel surcharged. Yes, it's not so bad. Right? You can never get depressed with Krishna consciousness for those who read Lilamrit regularly. It is already devotee's favorite book. Right? Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
His loving divine grace, Srila Prabhupada ki
I
jai.
want to say one thing.
Small thing, yeah, please.
I can.
Speak in this, and I finish speaking.
For us, this is like the Yoga Peeth, no? The birthplace of ISKCON over years. I was just remembering, as Prabhu was mentioning, about what Bhakti Tirth Maharaj said when he was on his deathbed, when he was leaving his body. Bhakti Tirth Maharaj said 3 beautiful things. He said, Krishna is so wonderful. There's a chapter in Krishna book which just says, Wonderful Krishna. Krishna is so wonderful, the process is so glorious, and we are so fortunate. So these 3 words, if we could remember. Wonderful Krishna, glorious process, and how fortunate we are to have been able to get this. I mean, what was the possibility of us, out of so many people being in the world, that we came in contact with devotees and that we were given this matchless gift of Krishna consciousness? Sounds so outrageous, because otherwise, what would we be doing on a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening? Can't even think about what we would be doing.
Diary.
Jaldu died, there, down there.
Over here. Please continue.
We would just be whiling away our time like anything. So, just now was Ram Navami. We just celebrated Ram Navami 2 days back. And one of the classes Maharaj was talking about, he said that so many pastimes of Lord Ram are there, and so many wonderful devotees of Lord Ram are there, and so many lessons the Lord performs his leelas to teach us, no? What we should be doing and what we should not be doing. So he said, why did Lord Ram, he wanted to follow his father's order of going into the jungle, to go to the forest, because he was banished. He had to do that. But the main thing is that he wanted to uphold, and he lived for the integrity of his father's word. To fulfill his father's word, he gave up everything. Yesterday also in the class, Maharaj was saying that, Maharaj was mentioning the same thing, that he didn't know that Sita was going to come along. He was ready to leave everything. Ayodhya, his family, the wealth, the kingdom, the citizens, and even his wife. Later on she came, that was a different thing, but to uphold the integrity of the word of his father, to what extent he could go. So I was just remembering that class of Maharaj, that how he said that a disciple, if we can, also live our life with integrity to follow the words of the spiritual master and dedicate ourselves for that. That's what Ram did, right? So these occasions like Ram Navami and all are there for us to, ask for specific benedictions. And in specific places like this also we ask for specific benedictions. We can ask and we can get that may we also get that conviction, a drop of it. We cannot get that conviction, a drop of it, that how the Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitate Kariya Aikya, that anything that the spiritual master says should be like lines in stone for our life. The lines in sand and the lines in stone. How we can beg for Prabhupada's mercy, that by his blessings and his mercy we can try to have some little bit of conviction to dedicate our entire life in trying to assist our seniors, our gurus, Gurugan, everybody to be able to fulfill this mission, that we lead a life of integrity to glorify the Guru. It's not just enough to say Jai Prabhupada or Jai Gurudev, but when we lead a life in that particular way, that automatically it glorifies the spiritual masters, our Param Guru, our Gurus. So we are just pray for Prabhupada's mercy and all the assembled Vaishnavas that the vibrations of this place can increase that determination and that conviction on our heart to be able to do this, what Lord Ram did for Dasharatha.
This is that painting which demonstrates this. On the night, I think some of you have seen this. So this is so special that all the incarnations of the Lord are there. And Prabhupada writes that clearly. Right? That on the night of his heart attack, Srila Prabhupada had a dream. Lord Krishna, along with his incarnations, was rowing a boat, and the boat was pulling Srila Prabhupada's ship all the way to America.
Wow.
So who is Prabhupada? And what is Prabhupada? Right?
So we all are so fortunate to be able to get this service to this intimate place over here.
Hare Krishna.
Does anybody have any question? One question?
Not a basic question. Thank you very much.
There you go.